Appendix 2 of From Dictatorship to Democracy, 4th United States edition, 2010. Narrated faster version. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. From Dictatorship to Democracy by Gene Sharp. Appendix 2. Acknowledgements and Notes on the History of From Dictatorship to Democracy. I have incurred several debts of gratitude while writing the original edition of this essay. Bruce Jenkins, my special assistant in 1993, made an inestimable contribution by his identification of problems in content and presentation. He also made incisive recommendations for more rigorous and clearer presentations of difficult ideas, especially concerning strategy, structural reorganization, and editorial improvements. I am also grateful for the editorial assistance of Stephen Cody. Dr. Christopher Krugler and Robert Helvey offered very important criticisms and advice. Dr. Hazel McPherson and Dr. Patricia Parkman provided information on struggles in Africa and Latin America, respectively. However, the analysis and conclusions contained therein are solely my responsibility. In recent years, special guidelines for translations have been developed, primarily due to Jamila Rakib's guidance and to the lessons learned from earlier years. This has been necessary in order to ensure accuracy in languages in which there has earlier been no established clear terminology for this field. From Dictatorship to Democracy was written at the request of the late U Tin Mung Win, a prominent exile Burmese Democrat who was then editor of Kit Piang, the New Era journal. The preparation of this text was based on over 40 years of research and writing on nonviolent struggle, dictatorships, totalitarian systems, resistance movements, political theory, sociological analysis, and other fields. I could not write an analysis that had a focus only on Burma, as I did not know Burma well. Therefore, I had to write a generic analysis. The essay was originally published in installments in Kit Piang, in Burmese, and in English in Bangkok, Thailand in 1993. Afterwards, it was issued as a booklet in both languages, 1994, and in Burmese again, 1996 and 1997. The original booklet editions from Bangkok were issued with the assistance of the Committee for the Restoration of Democracy in Burma. It was circulated both surreptitiously inside Burma and among exiles and sympathizers elsewhere. This analysis was intended only for use by Burmese Democrats and various ethnic groups in Burma that wanted independence from the Burman-dominated central government in Rangoon. Burmans are the dominant ethnic group in Burma. I did not then envisage that the generic focus would make the analysis potentially relevant in any country with an authoritarian or dictatorial government. However, that appears to have been the perception by people who in recent years have sought to translate and distribute it in their languages for their countries. Several persons have reported that it reads as though it was written for their country. The SLORC military dictatorship in Rangoon wasted no time in denouncing this publication. Heavy attacks were made in 1995 and 1996, and reportedly continued in later years in newspapers, radio, and television. As late as 2005, persons were sentenced to 7-year prison terms merely for being in possession of the banned publication. Although no efforts were made to promote the publication for use in other countries, translations and distribution of the publication began to spread on their own. A copy of the English language book edition was seen on display in the window of a bookstore in Bangkok by a student from Indonesia, was purchased and taken back home. There it was translated into Indonesian and published in 1997 by a major Indonesian publisher with an introduction by Abdurrahman Wahid. He was then head of Nahdlatul Ulama, the largest Muslim organization in the world with 35 million members, and later President of Indonesia. During this time, at my office at the Albert Einstein Institution, we only had a handful of photocopies from the Bangkok English language booklet. For a few years, we had to make copies of it whenever we had inquiries for which it was relevant. Later, Marek Zelaski from California took one of those copies to Belgrade during Milosevic's time and gave it to the organization Civic Initiatives. They translated it into Serbian and published it. When we visited Serbia after the collapse of the Milosevic regime, we were told that the booklet had been quite influential in the opposition movement. Also important had been the workshop on nonviolent struggle that Robert Helvey, a retired US Army colonel, had given in Budapest, Hungary, for about 20 Serbian young people on the nature and potential of nonviolent struggle. Helvey also gave them copies of the complete The Politics of Nonviolent Action. These were the people who became the Optor organization that led the nonviolent struggle that brought down Milosevic. We usually do not know how awareness of this publication has spread from country to country. Its availability on our website in recent years has been important, but clearly that is not the only factor. Tracing these connections would be a major research project. From Dictatorship to Democracy is a heavy analysis and is not easy reading, yet it has been deemed to be important enough for at least 28 translations as of January 2008 to be prepared, although they required major work and expense. Translations of this publication in print or on a website include the following languages: Amharic, Ethiopia; Arabic, Azeri, Azerbaijan; Bahasa, Indonesia; Belarusian, Burmese; Chin, Burma; Chinese, simplified and traditional Mandarin; Devia, Maldives; Farsi, Iran; French, Georgian, German; Jingpo, Burma; Karen, Burma; Khmer, Cambodia; Kyrgyz, Kyrgyzstan; Nepali; Pashto, Afghanistan and Pakistan; Russian; Serbian; Spanish; Tibetan; Tigrinya, Eritrea; Ukrainian; Uzbek, Uzbekistan; and Vietnamese. Several others are in preparation. Between 1993 and 2002, there were 6 translations. Between 2003 and 2008, there have been 22. The great diversity of the societies and languages into which translations have spread support the provisional conclusion that the persons who initially encounter this document have seen its analysis to be relevant to their society. Gene Sharp, January 2008, Albert Einstein Institution, Boston, Massachusetts. End of Appendix 2. Recording by Benjamin Gittins. End of From Dictatorship to Democracy, 4th United States edition by Gene Sharp.